there, survivors, I'm your host Douglas here at Drumboy Productions, bringing you another Screaming Ghostface Collectors video. And today we have some really incredible pieces to take a look at. Some are newer, some not so much. We've got some really cool, nice, new old stock. So, I guess let's just go ahead and dive right in. Let's go ahead and kick this off with some good news that is kind of not exactly Screaming Ghostface related, but still definitely pertains to the subject. I finally received my box of Pink Away, so we can finally go ahead and test this method out and see how well it works on some of these different masks. For those of you who don't know, Pink Away is one of the only methods out there that can not only remove the pink stains from vinyl Ghostface masks, but apparently it can also remove those blue dots. Now, I don't know 100% how effective it is, that's why we're going to test this out, but according to a friend of mine previously who had a blue dot appear on one of his Gen 1 masks, he used some of this and it went away. And judging by the pictures, it seemed to have worked, so I'm very excited to finally give this a shot. So hopefully at some point in the very near future, guys, we will have another cleaning Ghostface mask video. Now let's go ahead and move on to some actual Screaming Ghostface related stuff. And we're going to start out with some promotional material from Scream 6. I've personally seen Scream 6 times, so I've ended up with quite a few of these promotional posters, plus friends have went with me and they've grabbed them too. So I've got some to give away, not nearly as many as the amount that Dennis Suazo sent over last year for the Scream 2022 promo picture. There was a whole stack of those, and I don't have quite that many of either of these designs, and there are a couple that I don't have, but I'm going to give away the extras. Maybe if somebody out there has an extra of one of the designs I don't have and you're interested in one of these, hit me up through Instagram and we'll see if we can't work out a trade. But starting off with one design, here we have this one of Ghostface, and it's also, I suppose, New York. I mean, it's kind of a cool poster. It's not that impressive or that cool. Then we have this poster, which is really damn cool. The other one, kind of bland, kind of meh, it's alright. This is cool. I love the look of the aged Ghostface slashing down into New York, but then if you look at some of these signs here, they've got some pretty interesting stuff. The very top one is a Scream 5 image of Ghostface. Below that is "This is going to hurt. Stab the musical." So apparently Stab the musical is now happening. Every day, good morning with Gale Weathers, so we've got a Gale Weathers insert there. We've got Grisly Murders in the City. Mackenzie family found murdered in a series of stabbings. We've got a Blackmore University sign, New York New Rules, and below that, Mackenzie family found murdered in a series of stabbings in a city, a series of murders in the New York area close to Halloween. And it says NYC Halloween Parade in 5 days. Pretty cool. Then if you look down at the crowd, it's very dark, but you can see a crowd of people trick-or-treating and crossing the streets, and it looks like most of them are just in normal clothing, but there's a couple of Ghostface killers amongst them. So yeah, this thing is absolutely sick. I really love this poster. There are a couple of other versions, like I think there's specifically like a graffiti style one that's for 4D, and I think maybe even 3D has a different one. Either way, really cool. I'm really happy to have gotten a few of those. I am a bit disappointed that I didn't get any other Paramount Scream 6 promotional material, but I know last year I was sent some stuff from Paramount. They sent me like a steelbook, several different posters, some other cool promotional materials, and it was all really cool. I really love and appreciate those things, and I actually still have them in the original Paramount box. I was kind of looking forward to maybe that happening this year as well, but unfortunately nothing ever came. No contact, no surprise package. Anyways, back to a promotional item I do own. These are some of the most loved out of anything that's come out this year, and there's been some really cool promotional stuff. This is a theater promotional. Here we have the Lenticular cups. I do have the toppers for these as well, and of course the toppers are what really made these popular, but these cups are pretty sick as well. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't give you guys a nice little close-up here of it in action. On one side, you've got a nice close-up of the aged Ghostface mask, as well as a knife. The knife kind of swipes from side to side. On the opposite side, you've got Scream 6 repeated 6 times. And if you move it back and forth, you can see Ghostface appear and disappear amongst the lettering. Really cool. Anything lenticular is always going to be cool to me. I guess that's just the way it is. What do you guys think? Do you like lenticular stuff, or is it kind of just played out? Then as far as the toppers, we have 3 different versions, and I do have all 3. And I don't know if I mentioned it yet, so I'm going to go ahead and do it now. I have to give a massive, massive shout out to Skylar Hamlin for picking these up for me. Skylar has helped me out with many different things in the past, and I've helped her out with some pretty cool stuff too. But this is one I truly thought that I was either just not going to get, or I was going to have to pay some crazy eBay numbers to get them. And I don't know, with something like this, I probably wouldn't have went too high, but I would have probably at least paid the lowest that someone's asking for one of these, because man, they are cool. In the initial video on the Scream 6 Cinemark stuff where I talked about these, I thought that maybe the minifigure was posable to some degree. It had some kind of articulation, but I wasn't quite so sure due to the poses. Well, after seeing them, of course, they are their own individual statues. They're not posable at all. And since there's 3 versions that are posed differently, most of you out there are going to want all 3. So when you go to the theater, you're either going to buy 3 drinks to get them all, or you're going to be making multiple trips. Most people are probably just going to buy 3 drinks. Probably by the time that you're seeing this video, though, they're already sold out, so it won't matter. But let's go ahead and check out these figures, because they are really, really cool. As for the version of Ghostface that we have, it is the movie version. This is not the Fun World robe and costume. Of course, it does have the classic EU Ghostface mask, but outside of that, this is movie Ghostface. We have one here where he's kind of standing like so. It's going to be really, really difficult to show you guys these now. I'll have to give you some good close-ups after the fact or throw in some inserts of ones that are already opened because I don't want to unseal these. I'm going to leave them sealed. We've got another one here of Ghostface kind of to the side, and the last one is kind of like a creeping, stalking type pose. As for the quality of these as well, they look pretty nice. You've got the silver on the Buck 120, you've got the black and white mask, and of course the rest of everything is just solid black. And I gotta say, it's pretty well done. Like paint application wise, there's not a lot of overspray or overpainting on the eyes, nose, and mouth of the masks. It's actually pretty damn impressive. Same for the knives even, it doesn't seem to have any overpaint at all. So these are just very, very well done miniature statues. And I'm actually quite surprised we haven't seen a Ghostface figure or statue in that scale previously. But it's really damn cool that we finally have gotten it, even if it is a cup topper. But I do also want to mention, you don't have to put these on the top of your cups. If you're someone who just wants to collect them and display them as figures, they actually do have a peg hole in the bottom of the feet so that you can put them on display, instead of having the peg come out of the feet, which would really, really suck. So, really, really well made, really cool. And now we have finally made it to the new old stock products. Both of these are really, really cool new old stock, one of which I've never owned. This is the first time I've had one. One of which I thought it was slightly something different from what I had, but after getting a closer look, I think I may already have one. The first item here isn't too old, coming to us from 2011. We have the rare and elusive Ghostface Deluxe Mask and Bleeding Knife Set. Many of you have probably already seen these, many of you may not have ever seen them. I actually came across these in person when I first started collecting Scream and Ghostface masks like hardcore. I came across a whole shelf full of these at my local Party City. The very same one that you guys have seen me do several walkthroughs of since had just racks and racks of these. I do remember though, they were plagued with blue dots a lot worse than this, like some of the worst examples I've seen. This one, not so much. It's got 1 or 2 little dots on it. It is unfortunately affected by the dots, but nowhere near as bad as the ones I saw back then. What really sucks to think about is I remember they were on clearance for like $5 a piece because I guess nobody wanted them. And to be fair, all the blood had dried up in them, the masks had spots all over them. It really wasn't anything that anybody was too interested in, myself included. I remember even thinking, why does it say deluxe mask when the mask seems to be in worse condition than this whole shelf of other masks? And also, the knife's all dried up. Why would anybody want that? Well, needless to say, apparently these things didn't sell too well elsewhere either because they were not highly produced. And they were also not highly sought after, so you don't really find too many of these sealed if you ever do come across them. Luckily, however, a batch of new old stock of these popped up recently. I can't remember the exact person's name that shared it. I want to say their first name was Renee. If I can go back and find it, I'll put it on screen now, but I have to give a huge shout out to that person because they posted it in one of the Scream and Ghostface groups, and they were like, hey, I found this listing, it shows that it's one of the deluxe mask and knife sets, and it was just the original stock image of the mask being worn and the knife being held. So it wasn't a picture of the actual product. People do this all the time, and if you purchase it thinking you're gonna get, oh, the reshoot TD mask that's in the photo, and then you get an ultra wide in. Like, it happens all the time. but with the price point on these, it seemed like it could be legitimate. So myself and a few other fans decided to go ahead and buy them and see what was up. I'm guessing others may have grabbed multiple because they sold out almost instantly, but I only grabbed one because I only need one of this package style to be represented here in the collection. And I will be honest, I was really hoping that the mask inside was going to be a TD stamp collector's edition mask, because that's like the only version I'm missing currently. I didn't think I'd get the HHNs done, but I got them. So all I need is a TD stamp collector's edition mask and we'll have that full set. Unfortunately though, the mask that came inside was the ultra white mold version. At first glance I thought maybe it was an EU, but after looking at it a little bit closer I realized no, that's absolutely just the glow-in-the-dark ultra white mold mask. So while it wasn't the TD stamp mask I was looking for, and I do technically already have a collector's edition version of the ultra white mask, I don't have this packaging style represented, and here's one that is brand new I was able to get for the initial price all those years ago, so I really can't complain. As for talking about the packaging anymore, there's really not much to see. It does say turn upside down and watch blood ooze, but that's not going to happen. On the back, it's pretty much just, you know, bland cardboard. It just has the name of the product and a barcode. That's about it. And this next new old stock piece is by far the coolest out of anything that we've gotten today. It is really nice, and I don't know, I really wasn't looking to spend money at this time because I'm trying to get my money together for this Fun World order, but this piece popped up for a great price. I had to grab it. Here we have a nice mint condition, and I do mean like brand new old stock mint condition, Fearsome Faces tag mask. Look at that beauty. Now when I saw this mask initially, I thought maybe, just maybe, it was a splotch mold mask because the pictures weren't too great, and looking at the finish on it and the shape of the mask, it definitely has like that Gen 1 kind of shape. It's got that nice flat painted nose there, really triangular nose as a lot of people say. The way the eyes are painted, just everything about it to me looked like really close to Gen 1, if not just a Gen 2 painted in that style. And after getting it, unfortunately, I do believe it is just a Gen 2, but still, it is a very nice copy. I mean, this thing is like immaculate bone white, straight off the factory, like, couldn't have been any nicer. And same thing for the tag too. Outside of it being unpunched, that's the only way it could get any nicer. It's pretty much like almost 100% flat. There's like no major dings, tears, damage to the tag itself. It looks like it was just a brand new mask pulled right off of the shelf, but 25 years ago. Absolutely amazing that a mask this old has survived in this great of a condition. This one is absolutely gorgeous, and unfortunately, while I do believe it is a Gen 2, it is still very different from my other Gen 2. Let me go ahead and show you guys. I also thought that initially possibly they would be different color tags because there is a more purple tag, and then there's more of like a pinkish purple tag. Not quite as pink as the ASIS version of the tag, but still, they are different shades. The RDS mask and this mask that I had, side by side, are noticeably different color tags. I thought that would be the case here, but looking at them side by side, they do look pretty darn close in color. So then we have to look at the masks themselves. Just look at the paint job. Look at the shape of the mask. It's very different, or at least different appearing. You can kind of look at them a bit better up close. This one's a thinner vinyl, this one's a bit thicker. You can definitely tell it in this one in the appearance, as well as the shape of this one's a bit more robust. Obviously that has to do with how it's stored, that type of thing, but I believe this could have been an earlier mask than this one. I'm not sure how much earlier, but still very nice, especially just to have something this nice in this great of a condition. It's truly mind-blowing. Well, this video's went on for a lot longer than anticipated, but we did have some really cool stuff today. Nothing too absolutely mind-blowing outside of that beautiful tagged Fearsome, but I do have to give a massive shout out to the theater for giving away the posters. I have to give a shout out to Skylar Hamlin for helping me out with these cups, and I have to give a huge shout out to, I think it was Renee, I'll be sure to put it on screen, but I think it was Renee, who shared the link for the Ghostface Deluxe Mask and Knife Set. I've been after one of those for a while. It hasn't been like high on my list, but still been after one, and it's nice to finally get one. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hopefully soon we'll be able to go ahead and start on that Ghostface recovery video. I love you all, thank you for watching, and see you next time. Hey everybody, so after looking at both of these beautiful masks side by side, I have found some very interesting details I'd like to share with you all. So looking at the tags, they actually do seem to be slightly different colors. This could be due to it just being a different print run. It could also be due to exposure. This mask does seem to be a bit more yellowed compared to this one looking absolutely beautiful, stark white new old stock. But let's look at some other features, starting with the eyes. With this mask, you can see the glue showing through the eyes, and you can also see how thin the eye paint is, as well as the vinyl for the mask. Whereas with this one, it's a much thicker eye paint. You can tell it's a pretty nice opaque vinyl, but still soft. And then the nose, very classic triangular shape compared to this one being a very pronounced heart shape. But the most interesting part to me is the mouth. I'll show you guys some features on both. Like this mouth, you can see a few indents here, and they do seem to match up on this mask. But this mask is very, very smoothed out on the mouth, except for down here a little bit of texture. This one, lots of texture, and also this weird little splotch mark. Now this could just be unique to this mask. It could be a paint defect, it could be a problem with the cast, or it could be something coming out of the mold at that time. I don't really think I've seen too many other masks with that mark, but it is possible. If you look at this one though, much smoother. But if we look down here, there's a few marks. I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see this, but if you compare it to this mask, yeah, I don't think you guys are really going to be able to see it, but there's some marks that match up, but this one is much more textured. So maybe this is like an updated version of this mask, and this is an earlier copy, or who knows, maybe I'm wrong on this. But if you also look, this mask has much more flashing. It's very pronounced, and this is like a classical Gen 2 style mask, or at least this is the shape that we would associate with a Gen 2 to be very identifiable, compared to this one, which seems to be pretty shallow. Very, very, very beautiful mask. I love them both, but yeah, thought I would just point out some of those interesting details. So another thing that I noticed but forgot to mention earlier in the video is this knife is clearly not a buck 120. So I guess we have a new semi-official Ghostface knife to some degree. I'm guessing they just had a nice quality photo of some random knife and they said, well, that'll work, we'll just go ahead and use that. But the Lenticular is still really, really cool. And look at that high quality image of that mask. Really nice.